Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be real here. I'm going to be completely real here. This was a robbery. This music was absolutely a robbery. And I don't even think it's debatable. Now, before anybody gets mad in the comments, let me make this very clear right from the beginning. We are not talking about Aya Wilson here. Aya Wilson deserved her award. She absolutely deserved Western Conference Player of the Week. There is no argument there. There is no controversy there. We are not questioning Aya Wilson at all. But when it comes to the Eastern Conference, oh man, what are we doing here? WNBA. Seriously, what are we actually doing? Because coming into this weekend, I was sitting there trying to figure out who deserved Eastern Conference Player of the Week. And there were honestly several players that made way more sense than Breanna Stewart. People kept asking me, who do you think should win it? And my answer kept changing because there were multiple players who had better cases. At first, I was thinking maybe Brittany Sykes deserved it, because after that opening game, everybody was trashing her. Everybody was saying Washington looked terrible. Everybody was saying the Mystics were a mess. People were acting like Brittany Sykes forgot how to play basketball overnight. Then what happens? The Washington Mystics bounce back, go 2-1, and Brittany Sykes starts going crazy. She drops nearly 30 a game, explodes for a 40-point performance, and gets a massive win over LA. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is exactly the type of Week 1 performance the league usually rewards. Big numbers, big moments, carrying a roster that people weren't expecting much from. That looked like Player of the Week material to me. And then you had Sonia Citron. Sonia Citron absolutely had a case too. People are going to look at one bad offensive game and ignore everything else she, Music, did against Dallas. Yeah, her shot wasn't falling consistently, but she took on one of the hardest defensive assignments possible by guarding Paige Bueckers for stretches, and she did a really solid job. Honestly, she defended Paige better than a lot of players defended Caitlin Clark this season. And speaking of Caitlin Clark, how are we not talking more about her? Seriously, Caitlin Clark averaged ridiculous numbers this week. She was scoring, facilitating, controlling tempo, and carrying the offensive workload every single possession. The box score alone was elite. Then when you actually watch the games, you realize how much defensive attention she's dealing with every single night. That's the thing that frustrates me about these awards. People will pull up stats when it helps certain players, but then suddenly ignore stats when it comes to Caitlin Clark. 1 minute people are saying, well, look at the rebounds and efficiency. But then Caitlin puts up 26 points and 9 assists, and suddenly the conversation changes completely. Music, and let's be honest here, if Caitlin Clark had the exact same week while wearing a New York Liberty jersey, everybody in the media would be screaming that she's the clear Player of the Week. We all know it. Instead, somehow Stewie wins it. And again, I like Breanna Stewart. This isn't hate. Breanna Stewart is an all-time great player. She's one of the best players in the world. She's going to be in MVP conversations all year because she's Breanna Stewart. But this specific week, no. I didn't even think she was the best player on her own team this week. I'm sorry. But Leonie Febick looked better. I watched the games. Leonie Febick impacted both ends of the floor more consistently. Her energy was better, her defense was better, and there were stretches where she completely changed the game for New York. Honestly, you could even argue Maureen Johannes had moments where she looked just as impactful offensively. Maureen Johannes came in creating instant offense, stretching defenses, and bringing way more spark than people expected. But because the name attached to the stat line is Breanna Stewart's, suddenly she jumps over everybody and wins the award. That's where people get frustrated. And then fans say, well, the Liberty are winning. Okay, sure, the Liberty are winning games. Nobody is denying that. But let's also be honest about the schedule here. The Liberty got to play the Portland Fire twice. They played the Mystics. These are not exactly juggernaut opponents. Outside of Connecticut, most of these Eastern Conference teams are beating each other up. So, when somebody says, well, Stewie's team record mattered. Okay, fine. Then why are we ignoring what Alicia Gray did with the Atlanta Dream? The Dream went 2-1 during that stretch, and Alicia Gray was putting up huge numbers while being the clear offensive engine for that team. She absolutely had a stronger case than Brianna Stewart. This is why people feel like these awards are predetermined sometimes. Because when the conversation started, Stewie wasn't even in it. I'm serious. Nobody was talking about Brianna Stewart winning Player of the Week. Nobody. People were debating Caitlin Clark, Brittany Sykes, Sonia Citron, Alicia Gray. Even some Liberty fans were talking more about Leonie Febick than Stewie. Then suddenly the award comes out, and it's Brianna Stewart. And you're sitting there like, what changed? Did people suddenly watch different games than the rest of us? Because I genuinely don't understand it. And look, I understand the reality of the league. The WNBA wants to market certain stars. They want recognizable faces leading the conversation. Brianna Stewart and Aya Wilson are two of the biggest stars in women's basketball. I understand why the league pushes them. I understand why the media gravitates toward them. But there's a difference between promoting stars and forcing awards. Because if we're actually talking MVP rankings right now, Stewie wouldn't even be top 3 for me. Honestly, she might not even be top 5. That's not disrespectful. That's just based on the games that have actually happened. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is getting doubled every possession. Brittany Sykes is carrying Washington offensively. Alicia Gray is dominating for Atlanta. Sonia Citron is contributing on both ends of the floor. Yet somehow Stewie gets the nod anyway. And then you have people trying to defend it purely off box scores. Oh, Stewie averaged this many points, this many rebounds, and this many blocks. Okay, cool. But basketball isn't played on spreadsheets. Context matters. Opponent quality matters. Defensive attention matters. Actual game impact matters. And if we're talking impact, Caitlin Clark absolutely had one of the strongest cases in the entire conference. But honestly, this is how these awards usually go. We've seen this before. When awards are close, the established superstar almost always wins. If Brianna Stewart is anywhere near the conversation, she usually gets the benefit of the doubt. If Aya Wilson is anywhere near the conversation, she usually gets the benefit of the doubt too. And again, Aya Wilson absolutely deserved Western Conference Player of the Week. Let me repeat that because people are going to twist this. Aya Wilson absolutely deserved Western Conference Player of the Week. But historically speaking, if Aya Wilson is even remotely close in voting, she's probably winning the award. That's just reality. And honestly, the media pressure around Aya Wilson is insane. If she doesn't win an award people think she deserves, the backlash starts immediately. We literally saw Becky Hammon publicly defend her multiple times in past award discussions. We've seen teammates rally around her publicly. We've seen the Las Vegas Aces openly campaign for her. And to be fair, I actually respect that. I respect teammates standing up for each other. The Aces genuinely ride for Aya Wilson, and that chemistry is part of why they've been so successful. But the downside is that it creates this feeling where certain players are almost untouchable in award conversations. And fans notice it. Fans notice when Caitlin Clark puts up monster numbers and still gets overlooked. Fans notice when Brittany Sykes carries Washington and gets ignored. Fans notice when Alicia Gray dominates and barely gets mentioned. Fans notice when Sonia Citron impacts games on both ends and still doesn't get proper recognition. That's why so many people are frustrated right now. Because this didn't feel earned. It felt automatic. Music. And again, this isn't saying Brianna Stewart had a bad week. She didn't. She was good. Brianna Stewart is almost always good. But Player of the Week should go to the player who actually had the best week. Not the biggest name, not the safest media choice, not the player everybody already expects to win awards. The player who genuinely performed the best. And in my opinion, that was not Brianna Stewart this week, so yeah. Tell me what you guys think down below. Do you think Caitlin Clark got robbed? Do you think Brittany Sykes deserved it? Should Alicia Gray or Sonia Citron have one instead? Or do you think Stewie deserved the award after all? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload.